Just a short briefing today, an update on the current rain flood situation, and also a look at Tropical Storm Gordon and whether it might have any impact on our weather. Here are the main talking points. The most immediate concern is, of course, the heavy rains today, along with some localized flash flooding. We've already seen flash flooding down on Galveston Island, over on to Chambers County. I've already had up to 10 inches measured just from this morning over parts of Chambers. Several inches have fallen on Galveston Island and Bolivar Peninsula. We've had numerous road closures and impassable roads in the city of Galveston that have been reported to us. The disturbance we've been looking at out off just southeast of Florida, out toward the Bahamas, it's now a tropical storm, Tropical Storm Gordon. It's forecast to become a strong tropical storm, possibly even a hurricane, as it approaches the northern Gulf Coast, and we'll take a look at the track in a moment. Most likely landfall for Gordon would be somewhere between southeast Louisiana and the Mississippi Gulf Coast on Wednesday. Gordon should have a minimal impact on our area. We could see a little bit of swell, increased swell from the storm, reach our coastline midweek. That'll depend on how much the storm does intensify. There's also an off chance we could see some of the rain on the periphery of Gordon creep into our eastern zones, so we're going to have to watch that as well. Still uncertainty with the track. Certainly we need to watch it, but if it does follow the forecast track, the impacts should be relatively minimal. Here's a look at the latest radar situation, and you see those green boxes. That's where we have flash flood warnings in effect. Those are the areas that have seen most of the rain this morning, and as I said, several inches in some cases. And we have had numerous reports of flash flooding there. Outside those boxed areas, we do have some heavy downpours. There's a lot of moisture in the air, so we can get rain rates of 2, even 3 inches per hour. And so there still is a risk of flash flooding in other areas as well. But so far, the biggest impacts have been and the heaviest rain have occurred right along the coast. This is a look at the track from the 8 a.m. forecast. We should have the new track in shortly, really any moment, and I'll display that straight from the Hurricane Center website at the end of this call. But you can see Tropical Storm Gordon as of 8 a.m. was a 45 mile per hour tropical storm. You can see the track that it's forecast to take. Again, this track is far enough to our east that we should really see minimal impacts other than perhaps a little bit of swell coming off that storm, reaching our coastline. But it's a tropical storm with not a long residency over the Gulf, and so even those swell impacts should not be too severe. And there is a possibility of some rain wrapping around the storm, affecting parts of East Texas. So we still need to watch it. It's not that well defined yet, and there is uncertainty in the track, but the way the forecast track looks now should be a minimal impact on southeast Texas. This is just a little different display of the cone, again based on that previous advisory, and it also shows the wind probabilities, the probability of tropical storm force winds. So you can see by that measure those greens get fairly close to our forecast area, and there is uncertainty in the track. So if it were to take a left deviation from the center track, and it could get a little closer to us, and we would get a little closer to those wind impacts. But again, you know, that's kind of a worst case scenario. It is something we certainly have to watch, but as it looks now, the impacts should be minimal from Gordon. So just to recap, the most immediate concern is the heavy rains today, a lot of moisture in the air, high rain rates. We have had training of storms, meaning storms following the same areas this morning over Galveston Island and Bolivar on up into Chambers County. And so those areas have indeed had several inches of rain, even up to 10 inches just north of High Island. And that has led to flooding of those areas. Disturbance now, Tropical Storm Gordon, forecast to become a strong tropical storm, possibly a hurricane even. And this is likely to make landfall on the northern Gulf Coast. If it were to follow that track, the direct impacts would be more east of us, not so much over southeast Texas. We could still get a little bit of swell coming off the storm, so a little bit of increased surf when that swell arrives. And just an off chance could enhance our rainfall as it potentially tracks toward northeast Texas. Even if the center tracks up there, we can sometimes get some rain bands swinging around on the southern side. So we certainly still have to monitor this, but at this point no major impacts are anticipated from Gordon itself. I do want to take a look now at the Hurricane Center's website to get the latest forecast, and you can see it hopefully there on your screen. You can see there has been just an ever so slight shift to the right of the track, and they have added a hurricane watch for portions of the Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama coast because of the potential now of it perhaps even strengthening to a minimal hurricane before landfall. You can see the landfall forecast there. It looks now to be Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, somewhere in that vicinity. So that's pretty much where we stand right now. We still need to get through today. How is this heavy rain area going to evolve? You can see hopefully you can see the latest radar there. Those reds indicating a band of quite intense rainfall right near the of some street flooding fairly quickly. What we need to watch out for, as you see at the coast, leading to more prolonged periods